Okay, I think we're good. Hey guys, happy July. Welcome to the Knit by Day podcast. If you are new here, my name is Deja. You can find me on Instagram at Fiber by Day. It was Knit by Day. It is now Fiber by Day. You can find me on Ravelry at Days Jam. My dogs are weenies. I tried to put them outside for this episode and it shouldn't have been a big deal. Dogs love to be outside, but not my dogs. Not my dogs. So you're going to hear them coming up and down the stairs probably, and we're just going to have to live with it. They only want to be outside for 5 seconds at a time because it's dirty and hot out there, and they would prefer to be on the couch. So we're gonna oblige today. I have a couple of things to share with you, a couple of updates. No new cast-ons yet, which I am pretty impressed with. I showed a lot of restraints, and yeah, I have only been working on things that are already on my needles, and I'm thinking that I might get pretty much everything off my needles by the end of the summer, which would be so nice to like start the fall and winter with all new projects, because as we know, that's when all the really gorgeous, wonderful designs that we can't resist come out. So yeah, hopefully we get done with that. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Full disclosure, real quick, I have already filmed this podcast once. I filmed it last week and I was going to upload it last week, and when I went to go upload it, I realized that the audio was just absolutely atrocious. What had happened was I clipped the mic underneath my hair, and every time I moved my head, you could hear the static. And so I'm really hoping that things come out better this time. Otherwise, I'm just going to lose my mind. And I'm hoping that by the time we move, I'll have a better mic. We move this month, you guys. July 31st, we are out the door. And we're going to drive to Wilmington, which is a 22-hour drive, stay with my mom for a couple of days because our apartment won't be ready until August 3rd. So we'll get there like August 2nd, stay with my mom for the day, and then on August 3rd, we are moving into our apartment. I'm going to give you all the life updates right here and now because there isn't much other than moving across the country in like 20 days or something like that. So we're going to move into our apartment. We chose to go back to our old apartment because we loved it, and the housing market, as I know you all know, is just absolutely insane right now. So we're going to give it a year, see if it settles down, and then after a year, even if it hasn't settled down, we're just going to go ahead and buy a house in Wilmington. We're at the point now where we know that Wilmington is where we're going to settle, and so it doesn't make sense to pay rent when you could own, and that's the decision we've made. So yeah, other than knitting, I have been packing the house and getting ready to have a garage sale and selling all my things. And that's been my life. My last day of work is this upcoming Thursday, which is a relief and a sad at the same time. I loved my job here. It was probably the only thing I loved about Kansas, and so it's sad to have that go, but it means that we're one step closer to leaving. The big question I always get is, what are you doing when you get back to Wilmington? The answer is, I don't know. The answer is usually I'm a doctor's wife. I don't have to do anything anymore, but that's not true. I am looking for jobs. I just don't know what that's going to look like yet. I'm kind of being really picky. So we'll see. We'll see where I end up. Now, the thing you came for, the knitting. And we're going to start with finished objects because I am clearly wearing one. This is the Very V-Neck Raglan by Jessie May. And I showed this on the last episode of the podcast, and I think it was done. I just hadn't woven in ends and blocked it. So now you get to see it in its full glory, and I'm going to stand up and show it off, hopefully without giving you a show, because, okay, it's pretty cropped, and it is pretty, little show, pretty cropped and pretty v-neck. So I talked on the last episode of the podcast that I was running super low on yarn, so I kept it at the length that the pattern calls for. Half an inch probably would have done me some good, but we're just in this balance between showing too much cleavage and showing off my stomach, and I can live with it. The sleeves are the part that I absolutely love. This is another product of me nearly running out of yarn. So this pattern calls for full length sleeves, but I knew I was going to run out of yarn. So what I did was I just got to the length where I thought I was safe from the yarn chicken. And instead of doing any sort of ribbing, I just bound off right there. In fact, actually, I may have done one row of ribbing, if that. But yeah, just bound it straight off, and I love the fit of that. In fact, I'm not one to re-knit patterns, but I've done it a lot with Jessie May's designs. I think I'm gonna make another one. I kind of want this in all the neon colors. Neon's coming back. It was never gone for me, but yeah, I want one in like yellow, and electric blue, and pink, and I probably won't get all of those colors, but I would absolutely love this in a bright, bright yellow. So I think that I'm going to dye up some skeins and cast one on after I get through all of these projects. Really, really excited about it. So maybe by August, that might be a stretch. Maybe by September, I'll be casting on a new sweater. So, speaking of all of the projects that are on my needles, let's get started. I did end up finishing the second sock of these socks. This is just Hobby Lobby's like hand-dyed collection, and I think that collection is great for just like house socks, nothing too fancy. I'm not sure. It seems like it's already pilling, so maybe not the absolute best, but like if you're on a budget, I think the yarn's $8 a skein, and I think I got 2 pairs of socks out of it actually. So here are just some basic ribbed DK weight socks. I did a 2x2 rib, didn't follow any pattern in particular, just kind of knit socks. But when I knit socks that are DK weight, I don't like to do math. That's why I went into social work. I don't like to do math. So for the parts where I need to know like how many stitches do I need to knit to do a heel turn, or how many stitches do I need to pick up for the gusset, for that, the Crazy Sock Lady has a really great basic vanilla sock pattern, and it's for DK weight yarn. So I use that for knitting any DK. I just go look at the pattern where the heel gusset is, and I say, okay, how many stitches do I need to pick up? And the rest of the pattern, I just, I don't follow it. Do not like the math associated with socks. But I really love a DK weight sock, I'm learning, and I love socks in general. So with socks, I knit the smallest size. I found that 56 stitches on fingering weight yarn, which is what most people use, it's just way too loose for me. So for a regular fingering weight sock, I'll cast on 48 stitches. And for a DK weight sock, I'll cast on 40 stitches. And that seems to work really, really well for me, especially if they're ribbed, because they kind of cinch in, and that's exactly what I'm looking for in a sock. Those of you who watched the last episode of the podcast heard me talk about my hand-dyed yarn. That is a new-ish endeavor for me, but I am getting pretty dang good at it, if I do say so myself. And I mentioned that in August, I wanted to have my very first shop update. I think on the last episode of the podcast, I said August 15th for a shop update. Nix that. That's like midweek. So let's instead push it back a few days. And let's have it Saturday, August 20th. That way more people are able to actually show up for it. I think the next episode of the podcast is going to come out around this time next month. And so at that point, I will give you a preview of all that will be in the shop. I think I have 7 different colorways right now. And the colorways are on both fingering and DK weight yarn. And in honor of our move, every colorway is inspired by Wilmington in some way. So we are calling it the Wilmy Collection. And you're getting a little bit of a sneak peek back here, but I think most of you have already seen Princess Ave, so not too much of a surprise. I'm going to give you one more sneak peek. Because I just cast off, oh, I didn't even talk about my second pair of socks. I'll talk about that in a second. Because I just cast off 2 pairs of socks, I think I deserve one small cast on of a pair of socks. So I'm going to show you that yarn. My other pair of socks is right here. You saw it on the last episode of the podcast. So if you're super interested, go back and watch that. I'll pop a link up here. Go back and watch that. But these are the Bits and Bobs socks by Knitty Nellie. They were done on the last episode, but needed a bit of surgery because they were too long for me. They are now fixed, and I love them. I don't know, I haven't really worn them, so I don't know if I'm gonna love all the floats on the inside. This is my first pair of colorwork socks. And usually, you know, if you have a sweater, the floats hang off your body, and so you're not getting caught on the bits of yarn in the inside. But with socks, I don't know how that's gonna work. So we're gonna see how I feel about it. They might be my last. But anyway, I digress. Here's the yarn I'm thinking about casting on. This yarn is called Dawn Patrol, inspired by the Wilmington sunrises. I spend a lot of time on the beach watching Christian surf first thing in the morning when we live in Wilmington. So, Wilmington inspired sunrise, Dawn Patrol, lots of pinks and bright yellow and bright orange and some mix. And this is perhaps one of my favorite colorways in the collection. So this is going to become a pair of socks, and I dyed up a little mini skein just for it in periwinkle, and so I think that's going to be my contrasting heel and toe. Yeah, so now that I've shown you, I am going to probably immediately cake this up and cast some on because I have been craving a little bit of socks. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure out how to show you this. I have finished a blanket. Finished a whole blanket. This is one of my crochet blankets. This is just, I'm not gonna spread it out for you. Just know it's the size of a throw. This is one of my crochet blankets. It's just a single crochet, and it is in self-striping yarn by Yarn Bee, which is a Hobby Lobby company, and they do the sugar wheels that come in, 4 different colors, and you just knit or crochet and it'll stripe itself. Not always super evenly, but what are you gonna do? It's like $5 a cake. So really excited about that. Christian has already made rules for it. No dogs on this blanket. It can't stay on the couch because then the animals are going to ruin it. He's really excited about it, which is pretty cute. And our couch is like a royal blue velvet, so I think it'll look really great as an accent piece, maybe in a chair or something. I don't think I have anything else to say about that. I'm excited to be done with one of my blankets. I still have 2 other blankets on my needle/hook, and yeah, blankets are a bit of a slog, so it's nice when you can get one done. Feels like such an accomplishment. While we're on whips, I have 2 or 3 whips to show you. No, 4 or 5 whips to show you. And then that'll be that. On the last episode of the podcast, I went over all of the projects that had been languishing to some degree, and I have made progress on most of them, but I have not made progress on all of them. So if I do not show something today that I showed last week, it's just because it hasn't seen any progress. And so maybe as these start to come to a finish, I'll get to those. But we're just going to talk about what has progress. So the first project, this is my test knit. So this really needs to finish up like this weekend, so that I can go ahead and give my notes and be done. This is the Maggie Sweater, and it has gorgeous little lace panel along the yoke, and then sleeves. It is held double. It's a fingering weight yarn paired with I think I paired it with a Surrey alpaca or a mohair silk. Either way, it's super soft, super next to skin, not an issue for me at all. And it's just bare yarn, so I'm not going to go into too many details for that. And yeah, so I have 1.5 sleeves, and this has, I don't know, probably like 50, 60 rows left for this sleeve. And so I honestly think I could bust it out today. I did finish this one sleeve in like one day, but it was one day of literally just sitting and knitting all day long. And I don't know if I have the attention span for that this weekend. I'm doing a lot of cleaning and packing, and that's all stuff that needs to get done as well. So yeah, really that's all I have to say about the Maggie Sweater. It's obviously not going to get anywhere anytime soon because it is hot as heck, and only getting more humid once we move to Wilmington. So I bet it'll be like January, February before that thing sees wear, because Wilmington tends to stay pretty hot even in December. So, whew. Okay, that took some wrangling. Next, I have a shawl of my own design. You guys have definitely seen this a bunch. I've been working on this design for what feels like forever, because the first version I knit, I did not like the shape of, and now we're getting into a shape that I actually really do like. And so I'm hoping to actually have this to a tech editor by the end of the month. I think I can do it. So here we are. This is the Flint Shawl. It is a series of fades and little brioche sections. It is knit out of the Huggable set by a Homespun House, and that is a set of 4 skeins, 50 grams each. And so the first 4 colors is the Huggable set. And I got to the end of the last color in the Huggable set and realized it just wasn't quite the size I wanted it to be. So this last more black color you're seeing here, this is a new color. So altogether, this shawl will have 5 colors incorporated. This is the final color that I have incorporated. It is gorgeous. It is still a Homespun House, and I think this skein is still 50 grams. I cannot remember the name of the colorway, but I will link it in the description. The whole shawl is fingering weight yarn. I am using Molly's Soft Sock Base, which is, I've talked about it enough. It is so, so good. So soft, so wonderful, everything I need it to be. So hopefully to a tech editor by the end of this month, which, you know, I realize is a little ballsy because it's the month that we're moving, but I think I can do it. I really do. Especially because I'll have 2 weeks of just not working at all. So between packing up the house, maybe I'll take some breaks and finish up some knitting and finish up that pattern. The only thing I have left is one brioche section, and then I will cast off. So just one brioche section. I can do that. So once I get that to the tech editor, depending on how long that process takes, I will be asking for test knitter shortly. If you are interested in this shawl, make sure that you're following me over on Instagram at Fiber by Day, because that's where I'll make the announcement. It's just way easier than bouncing around to different mediums and figuring out who wants to test knit it. So I'll call on Instagram. We're just going to continue with the theme. The next one is going to be yet another one of my designs, and my thought process has changed on this one since the last time I saw you. So I think I bumped the microphone. This one was it's going to be hard to show off, but this one was originally just a kite shawl. It has since, you see this massive red section, it has since turned into a bit of a wrap. So this part, you'll see all of that is kind of at a diagonal triangle shape. This part is going to go flat. And so it'll be the triangle shape and then a flat section across your back and then back into a triangle shape. So it's going to be more of a wrap than a kite shawl. All of these colors are hand dyed by me. In fact, this right here is Princess Ave. The other colors will not be making an appearance in the Wilmington collection, but will likely be in the shop at some point. So stay posted on that. I don't have much to say about that one. I've gone over that one so many times that I am sure you are as sick of it as I am. I have no clue when that one's going to be done. Again, I'm hoping that everything is done by the end of the summer, but really no guarantees. Yeah, it just is what it is. But definitely not casting on another shawl until that one's done. Here's another project that has taken years. This is my Habitation Throw by Helen Stewart. You've seen it a gazillion times, so I'm not going to show off the whole thing. But this is knit entirely out of minis from Molly of a Homespun House. And I have incorporated the last the last 6 colors are new to you. So I have been working on this a little bit, and then as I was working, I got down to this much yarn. It's like the final mini skein, and I realized we're gonna need more mini skeins because I don't think I'm near done. I think I need like 8 to 12 more to incorporate before it's done. So I got more minis from Molly. If you go on her website, you can order an assortment of 8 random minis and she will just send you whatever she has. So that's what I did because I like that this blanket is really random and mindless, and I don't have to really think about what's going where. And it kind of adds to the excitement of the whole thing. So I made them random, and hopefully 8 is enough to finish off this blanket, but I might need to order another set yet. So we'll see. For those who don't know, Helen Stewart's Habitation Throw, first of all, incredible pattern. Love it. It's super mindless, but just gorgeous. It is knit from point to point. So when you start the blanket, you start with like 3 stitches and you knit up. And then once you like the size, you knit down. So you decrease and it goes to a point. So that's what I mean. With most blankets, if I felt like it was finished, I could just stop and cast off. But with this one, it really needs to come back to that point before I'm done. So hopefully 8 is enough to get me there. I don't know. We're going to have to just watch and see. Looking around to make sure I have not forgotten anything. And I don't think I have, except for the last thing I have to show off. And that is the temperature blanket. So with this blanket, we are officially 6 months in, which means it is officially halfway done. And holy cow, it is enormous. In fact, yeah, so it is up to here if it's hitting the floor. up to my chinny chin chin. I'm gonna say it like that. It's up to my chin. Distracted by how ridiculous I am. Hold on. I'm gonna rehash what a temperature blanket is because I continuously get comments from people that tell me they don't know what a temperature blanket is, and so let's go over it. A temperature blanket is a year-long project. Every single day you knit or crochet one row that coordinates with the day's average temperature. So you create your own chart, or there are some online you can find on Pinterest and whatnot, but I created my own, and each color represents a range of temperature. So for instance, if you look at mine, the pink is 90 to 100. And so every day that was a high, because I'm doing high, not average, every day that was 90 to 100 degrees as the high, I will crochet a pink row. And so by the end of it, the whole project will show you how dang hot the year was, or how cold the winter was, or whatever it is. So this is my temperature blanket so far. Last time I showed it off, we had not gotten the bright red yet. Red is over 100, which happens way too often in Kansas. Just is what it is. It sucks, but at least I got to incorporate that red before we leave. Wilmington rarely gets over 100. So rarely. But the humidity is enough to maybe make up for it. I don't know. Anyway, 6 months into that, it is massive. I don't even really want the finished object. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it in the end. Gift it to someone, maybe. Who's worthy of a year-long project? I don't know. I don't think I know of anybody. So, yeah. Maybe it'll just sit on my guest bed forever. I don't know. Anyway. As I said, life stuff is just packing and getting ready to move, so I don't have anything else to share with you today. Make sure you like and subscribe because that helps me a ton. And I will see you in August. Bye guys, happy knitting.